Welcome to Sports Talk with RKJ. I'm your host, Steve Risser, here along with my co-hosts, Justin D'Onofrio and Kyle Galuli. And we have a big Game 5 tonight between the Bucks and the Raptors. I mean, two really good teams. Clearly the two best teams in the Eastern Conference. As you see on this series have gone. The Bucks won a close 8-point game in Game 1. They blew out the Raptors in Game 2. As most of us are probably watching Game of Thrones, the Raptors won a double overtime thriller in Game 3 where Kawhi Leonard had 35 points, and then in Game 4 the Raptors beat the Bucks by 18. So this has been a really evenly matched series. I think Giannis and Kawhi, two very evenly matched players. I think the series could very easily go 7 games. Both teams like playing on their home court. That's been really big in this series. And I think it's going 7. I think the Bucks win in 7, but it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in this series. I think a couple keys to this series are how especially tonight's game, is how Siakam plays and Lowry plays for the Raptors, and then how Bledsoe and Middleton play for the Bucks. Because Giannis and Kawhi are going to get theirs, but how are the role players for the Bucks and the 2 and 3 players for the Bucks and Raptors going to play, and how is each bench going to play? Because you saw Marc Gasol a lot more comfortable at home. Same with Siakam. And I mean, it definitely showed in Game 3, a little bit in Game 4, but definitely in Game 3. So I'm definitely excited. Huge, probably the biggest NBA game of the year tonight. Big Game 5 between the Bucks and Raptors. Your thoughts, Justin?
Yeah, it's a big one, and it's turned into a best of 3. And as we all will know, you take the first game right here. You just got one of the last 2, and I think Milwaukee's gonna end up taking this at 6. I don't know. I don't know. I think what happened in Game 4 with Giannis and Drake or whatever. I don't know. I just feel like next time Giannis goes to Toronto, he's gonna have something to show for Drake.
Do you think Drake is in Giannis's head? I think he kind of is a little bit.
I think maybe a little. I think he could be, very possibly.
Do you like watching him? I kind of like watching him on the sidelines.
I get annoyed. I don't know. It's like, I don't know what I think about that. I don't know about what I think of fans.
Well, you see him rubbing the Bucks coach's shoulder.
Yeah, just that was the Raptors coach.
Oh, was the Raptors?
That was the Raptors coach. Yeah,
that's right.
It's just an interesting. I don't know. It's interesting, but but if the Bucks do want to take these next 2 games, their benches has to play better. They only had like 12 points off the bench. Malcolm Brogdon was 2 for 11 shooting. He played 27 minutes. They need some production from the bench. And then Brook Lopez, who stepped up huge Game 1 and Game 2. He only had 8 points the other night. So, if he can bounce back tonight, play well. I think Milwaukee, is a little bit better than Toronto. Just a little bit. Both these teams are really evenly matched. But I think Milwaukee's a little bit better. So I think Milwaukee will end up taking this in 6.
I'm going to be going with, I think it's actually going 7, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Bucks and the Raptors had the second and third best home records. So clearly they're dominant at home. But the one thing I think that's kind of been surprising so far is because normally with the Raptors, Kyle Lowry's been a lot lesser of a player in the playoffs than he is in the regular season when he's actually pretty good. But last game he actually did pretty good especially for him. 6 of 11 got 25 points, 3 of 7 from 3, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. So that's pretty good. The only thing the Raptors got to worry about is Kawhi with his injury. Is it anything major? And then if it becomes major, how is that going to affect, next game is going to have to take some plays off. He's going to take games off, which you can't really take games off now because obviously 3-game series now. And then if you win finals, and you can't risk a game against the Warriors. But the one thing that I think Giannis needs to do is come up with some more moves, because I feel like the Raptors have kind of figured out his basic moves that he normally sticks with, because obviously it's a 7-game series. It's not like the regular season. You play a team, you might see them months down the line. It's game after game after game. So they teach they get taught stuff by the coach and by watching film. Now they know what to do. Now you got to make adjustments to their adjustments. And right now, I think he's a little struggling now. Which you got to do it a lot better, especially when you're considered by a good amount of people the MVP of the league.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a debate. Who is better, Kawhi or Giannis? I think right now it's really close, but I probably would give the edge to Kawhi because of his defense, and he's a better all around. Yes, Giannis get to the basket quicker, but I think he's a better all-around offensive player where he's a better shooter than Kawhi is a better shooter than Giannis. So if you have to force Giannis to take jump shots, I don't think he's as good as Kawhi. I think it's close, but I would give Kawhi the slight. They're both top 5. Yes, I was wrong saying that Giannis wasn't a top 5 player. I'll give you that. But I think they're close, but I would give Kawhi the edge because I think he's a better all-around player, better all-around defender, and a better all-around shooter. It's really close, but right now I probably would give Kawhi the slight edge over Giannis. Even though I'm picking the Bucks to win the series, I'll give Kawhi the slight edge over Giannis right now.
I gotta go with Giannis. I know Kawhi's a better shooter than him. I know all that. I just at his size of 6'8", 6'9", his driving ability, I think it makes up for it. I just hope that he's able to develop a jump shot because he'd become the best player in basketball with right there with Durant. I would feel like, and LeBron. You know, honestly, I feel like you can put him in that category, but like he would stand out from both of them if he could ever get a jump shot.
Honestly, I think if he even gets a decent jumper, I think he becomes the best player, and I don't even think it's that close.
Yeah.
Because Durant doesn't have the driving ability of Giannis. He doesn't have the strength of Giannis. Obviously, he has a way better shooting touch. No one can debate that. But it's just that freakish athletic ability that Giannis has, plus with those long, muscly, go gadget arms that he has. It's just the fact that like he can almost I'm pretty sure he can like Euro step from a free throw line and dunk it, and it ain't like no problem. It's just right around you, and it's freakish. But yeah, I would say the only thing that Kawhi has over him would be the shooting. I think defense, it's just right there, but they just do it differently. Giannis shoots more of his length than Kawhi does, and I think driving again, it's not close. Giannis has it over Kawhi, but I think as of right now, Kawhi's kind of been making adjustments. So Giannis, now it's your turn. You got to step up. You got to make adjustments because if they lose Game 5, I think they lose in Game 6. And now, in fact, that you were up 2-0, and people were kind of thinking, this series is over. People thought this probably ended maybe 5. Now, if you ended up losing in 6, that ain't looking good on you.
I completely agree with that. I think that if the Bucks lose tonight, it's over. I don't think they go to Toronto and win. I mean, Giannis will have to be Drake is. I'm calling Drake the modern day Spike Lee. Remember Spike Lee and Reggie used to go at it all the time back in the 90s. Drake has kind of turned into the modern day Spike Lee. He's walking up and down the court during the game. He is entertaining to watch. He's one of my favorite rappers, definitely. But yeah, I mean, he's been fun to watch during the series, especially the other night. He was really fun to watch. Yeah, but talk about adjustments. Yeah, Giannis has got to make adjustments in this game, and this is such a crucial game. I mean, I think you could argue the winner of this game is going to win this series.
Yeah, I definitely agree in that. And yeah, with the adjustments, most definitely, because Game 3, Kawhi shut Giannis pretty much down. He was able to do nothing. So
wasn't he like 1 of 9? I think when guarded by Kawhi,
something like that. Yeah, it wasn't great. So I think it definitely comes down to tonight. So we'll see what Giannis can do now that he's at home. But
yeah, I think if Raptors win this game, it's over in 6. If Bucks win this game, I think Bucks winning in 7. But if the Bucks do win this, and let's just say they are able to close it out in 6, I want just because it'd be hilarious and we all would love it, and the internet would love it too. I want Giannis to go up to Drake after they win, go to the final, and hit him with that the Dikembe Mutombo finger wave. I want to see that because on the inside Drake can be like. But he can't do a single thing about it. And let's make a song about it.
What if they lose tonight? He's gonna wear like a Bucks jersey their next team too, so he doesn't try to jinx it.
Yeah,
God, that's just funny with the Drake curse.
Imagine if Drake takes a trip to Milwaukee tonight.
Just to curse him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He seems like that kind of guy.
Yeah, he does.
He's probably embrace the curse at this point. Can't do anything more. Because clearly it's true.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little about the other series where the Golden State Warriors, even without Kevin Durant, made easy work of the Portland Trailblazers. I mean, Lillard had a great year for the Trailblazers, but the Warriors were no match for them. And how about Steph Curry? He might arguably still be the best player in the game. The way he played in that series, I mean, averaging over 30 points a game, the way he makes his team teammates better. I mean, but I'd say Durant's the best, but he's the second best player in the game. I mean, Steph Curry, there's not much more you could say about him. The Warriors getting to the NBA Finals for the 5th straight year. I mean, the culture there that Steve Kerr's created has been outstanding since he's taken over for Mark Jackson. Imagine Mark Jackson doing those games as a color commentator saying, I had this team that was kept going to the finals, but I didn't have the ability to coach this team the way Steve Kerr did. So, I mean...
He has to be mad about it. And not only that, when he said that they had the best shooting backward all the time, everyone was like, you're an idiot. And now he's right. And I don't even think it's close.
Yeah. He gets fired after the 2014 season, and then they go to 5 straight NBA Finals. So I mean, but it's been a great. The Warriors have been so dominant. I mean, it's comparable to the Bulls of the '90s, and the Celtics of the Lakers of the '80s, the Celtics of the '60s. One of the great teams that we're ever going to see. The Spurs of the 2000s. This is one of the great teams we're going to see. I mean, yes, it's going to be a tough series without Durant if they play the Raptors or the Bucks, but just the Warriors were just outstanding in this series, and Steph Curry, there just isn't more you can say about him. He's just a phenomenal player.
Oh, yeah, he just absolutely just dominated Portland. And the thing was too, it was like Portland every time at halftime. It seems 3 out of the 4 games, Portland was up by double digits too in the second half. And I know come back. You gotta close out the Warriors, especially if you're at home. Come on. I just, how do you blow 3 straight? I think after the second time, it just must have been like, oh, here we go again type thing. But Curry was just unbelievable. And the thing was too, it's like he just doesn't stop moving. It's like he doesn't sit there and take a couple seconds. No, he keeps running around, gets open. It's just he just flies around and he hits everything. It was unbelievable to see him. And and I thought maybe this would go 5 or 6 without Kevin Durant, but no, it did not. So, it's gonna be a tough test though if they do not have Durant. But it should, Bucks. It should be interesting to see what the Warriors do against Giannis. With Draymond or something. Who would be guarding him or Kawhi. So, it should be a fun series, but we'll find out in a couple of days.
I think with the Trailblazers, just one of those things of there'll be a good team down the line, depending if they add a couple pieces here and there, they could potentially become a great NBA team. The problem is right now it's just one of those classic things of they just weren't ready for the moment. It's obviously it take most times you got to lose in order to become good. And they just weren't used to this. Obviously, they have never as a lower team, they have not been this far. Like we said with Curry, I mean this is ridiculous. Just looking at stuff in the 4 game against the Trailblazers, he had 36, 37, 36, and 37. That's insane. And even in the closeout game, he had a triple double. How are you letting Steph Curry, who doesn't have a great, I don't know how you let this man get 13 rebounds. I don't know what is going on with the bigs or in the point guard, anything, boxing out, anything. That's just brutal. And he shot good, he shot pretty good from the field goal the whole time and didn't shoot under 42. And it's just insane. The fact that I understand Steph Curry is Steph Curry and he's the best shooter ever, but just get the ball out of his hand or try something at least. And then I just don't know because you're letting this man go for, I think the average is just a touch over 36.
36.5 points.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's just, and with the Warriors, I wouldn't say they're a better team than Durant. I think they're on the same level. Like they're just right neck and neck. They just play a ton different. It's all just ball movement. It's constant ball movement. Steph Curry hauling it around the court. Klay Thompson hauling it around the other way. Draymond setting picks, or whoever they decide to play at center setting picks. It's just a completely different squad. Yeah. But they play. This is the 73. Well, I believe they won 73. Yeah, the year they lost to the Cavs. And that's this team. And then the year that they won their first title, that's this team is what you're seeing. Now the Trailblazers can't do it. Now let's see if it's going to work against the Raptors or the Bucks.
You should possibly, could, but but I think going back to Trailblazers, this team could be to take the next level. I know they have Nurkic. I know he was hurt, but like I think they need to add that big, or at least another forward to actually take that next step.
They need a small forward or a power forward.
Yeah, because Harkless is not really gonna. He gave you 4. Myers Leonard gave you 30 though,
which was insane.
yeah.
I think it was 25 and a half or something like that. It was like
he didn't do much second half, but
yeah, because the Warriors are like, stop that.
Yeah.
Like this ain't you. We'll stop this. But that's just going forward and whoever they face in the finals. I'm interested to see who's gonna be like guarding Curry because honestly, I'd put, especially in the big moments, I'm putting either Kawhi or Giannis. And I know Curry can get a shot up no matter what, but how are you getting a shot over Giannis?
It'd be tough, but
like. You're going to have to put like some insane arc on that thing or something. Like, I don't know, pray that it gets over him. But that's just going to be interesting when it comes down to the big, big series. But the good thing is for Warriors, you get to, rest, maybe, potentially see if DeMarcus, what happens with him, what happens with Durant and all that. But
they have 9 days off, which I heard is tied third longest before the
which is just
finals. So.
Yeah, which is just insane. Now, the only thing is like with if you're seeing it from Durant's side, like, let's say he can't win, can't play for the rest of the playoffs and end up winning the finals. That's going to diminish your, 2 championships with them, from 2 years prior. How are you going to feel about that now? But it's like, it's that if they end up winning and he doesn't play, that's going to make this off season even more, potentially unpredictable, and you never know what's going to happen this year.
Yeah. Definitely, the offseason is going to be interesting with him and Kyrie and Kawhi as free agents. It's going to be really, really interesting. Oh, yeah. So it's a little weird in June to have NFL news, but we definitely did this week. We'll start with the Buccaneers releasing Gerald McCoy, which came as a surprise to me. I mean, yes, he had a big contract there, and they probably wanted to free up cap space, but still a great player. Yes, he's not as good as Aaron Donald or Fletcher Cox, but still one of the best defensive tackles in the league. And we got teams that, 5 teams I was looking up who were interested who he could fit really well with, and one of them is the Colts. I think, imagine if he goes to the Colts. I mean, then you have a really good defensive line. Then you got Darius Leonard at linebacker too. You'd have, Danico Autry, you'd have Justin Houston, and you would have Jabal Shear. That's a pretty good defensive line there.
Yeah, they definitely need some DT.
They definitely need defensive tackle help. Autry's pretty good, but they definitely need defensive tackle help. They definitely do. They definitely need that. Another team would be the Cowboys, which if he went there, their defense would probably be one of the top defenses in the league if he goes there, because you'd have DeMarcus Lawrence, Gerald McCoy, and then you got that linebacking core with Landon Vander Esch, and you got Jalen Smith, and you got Byron Jones in the back end. So that defense would be really, really good if they could end up getting Gerald McCoy. I saw the Browns, and imagine if he goes to the Browns. Imagine that defensive line: Vernon, Garrett, and then Gerald McCoy. That would be a really, really, really good defensive line if he goes to the Browns.
That team is loaded.
The Seahawks I saw, they were definitely in need of a player like him. I mean, especially on that defensive line. Even though they got Ziggy Ansah, they drafted LJ Collier in I think in the first round. It might have been the first or second round.
Yeah, I think it was
the first round.
Yeah,
they drafted LJ Collier from TCU, but they definitely need defensive line help. Trading when they traded Frank Clark to the Seahawks. I mean to the Chiefs. So they definitely need defensive line help. And then the last team is the Chargers. Imagine that front four with Bosa and Ingram. They did draft Jerry Tillery too, and if they get Gerald McCoy, that would be a really, really good fit there with the Chargers.
Still going to get worked by the Pats in the playoffs. Sorry.
We'll see. They might not even make the playoffs. Imagine Phillip Rivers' age might not be as good. That offensive line really hasn't improved. They might not even make the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised.
I still don't know, every time I watch that man play, how do you throw the ball like that? I don't know.
I know.
That it's just like.
Yeah.
Hey, it worked though. I can't blame.
Yeah, Kyle, your take on the trade? No, your take on them releasing McCoy?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he might have only had 2 years or something like that on his contract. So it wasn't like he was fresh on his contract, like a year or two. And I believe it was maybe a 5-year deal or something like that. The only problem I have with it is that he was making, I believe it was $13 million, and then so you cut him to save that money. And then you sign Ndamukong Suh.
But Suh's only 1 year.
Yeah, but this is the point I'm getting to, is that I could understand if you were maybe one player away and you needed that money to in another position, you get Suh, who's not to the level of McCoy, but close. Potentially when he wants to play, and then you can use the money for another position. But the problem is we all know the Bucs going to be terrible. They're not going to do anything this year. They're going to probably be just get destroyed by the Panthers in that division. the Falcons and Saints, right? So you catching 6, maybe 5 hot losses that, this upcoming year. It's going to be terrible. So I don't exactly understand that, because it's not like Gerald McCoy's a problem in the locker room. The guy is one of probably the nicest dudes you could ever ask for. So whoever your team does get him, you're getting grade A level character, and he's going to be a good locker room guy. Now I could potentially see him going with the Patriots, but the problem is with the money now, with them getting Edelman his extension. How much of a pay cut is he going to be willing to take? He does want to play for a contender, which I don't blame him, because he's made money. He's made his money. How much is he going to be willing? But if he goes to a team like the Chargers, I honestly would say, if I'm him, I would honestly say it's either going to be I would either go to the Browns or the Chargers, because the Chargers, obviously, Ingram, Bosa, was it Justin Tillery? I think was that his first name from
Jerry Tillery.
Yeah, Jerry Tillery. So he's going to be a solid guy who's going to potentially develop into something pretty good. And you have that guy, and then you have Joe McCoy there. Your front four, there's probably not a hole there. So along with that secondary, which is insane, that's a great defense. Now with the Browns, the level of talent on that team is just absurd. If he goes to that team to me is either going to do one of two things. It's either going to go 4-12 or it's going to go 12-4. It's going to be it's ain't going to be no 8-8, as Jeff Fisher would love to say. It's going to be no 8-8 at all. It's going to either be god awful or it's going to be probably a first round bye. But if I'm him, you got to go to a contender, because you're only gonna have so much left in your career, and you want that, but at least a chance at a ring. So to me, it's either Browns or Chargers, I would say.
Yeah. All those 5 teams, definitely. Yeah, I could even maybe see Dallas too, with that defense, with the East kind of being wide open really this year, besides Philly. One thing I thought about this, but if they were actually going to do it, they probably wouldn't have been able to trade, because it's just like you're just caught really. You're probably your best player, and it's like you're not. You got Sue out of it, but it's like, as we saw last year with LA, he didn't care during the regular season, and that was with the Rams, who were like Super Bowl contender, who were in the Super Bowl. Who are they going to? Why? It's like, is he even going to care that he's playing at Tampa?
Yeah. Well, I think they tried to trade McCoy too, but he wasn't willing to take a pay cut. I don't know if people were willing to trade whatever they wanted, because I don't know what their asking price was, but that could have been sky high. Plus, it's 31 with a 13 mil and paying 13 mil. Oh, people might have been willing to pay that.
Yeah. That probably would have been tough to sell, but. Yeah, I just the suit. It's just weird.
I'm there with you on that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, and it's not. Yeah, and it doesn't. They're pretty much the same guys. Like, their numbers have been the same since they came up. McCoy was second. Sue went third in their draft. So it's it's just, I don't know. It's just the same guy. It's not really help. It's not taking you to the next level or anything. But it's
not like the Bucs are in win now mode either.
Yeah.
So maybe they're cutting him maybe to hopefully get some big name, like maybe player in upcoming free agency next year. Or, I don't know.
Man. I don't know. It's one of those head scratchers. It's
Yeah, or maybe they want to save money to pay Jameis Winston. I don't know.
I would hope not.
For the love of God, Bucs, don't do that.
And
I don't know. It's weird. I don't understand it even remotely from any way you look at it. I do not understand it at all. A little Drake with the windmill.
Oh yeah. That's fine. We're watching ESPN right now. So getting back to the NFL, but the Bucs do sign Ndamukong Suh to a 1-year deal. Listen, here's the thing with Suh. He was really good for those 3 games in the playoffs, but the 16 games of the Rams last year, he kind of coasted. This year in Tampa, he's got to be really, really good for that team to be a playoff contender, and for that defense to was probably the worst defense in football last year to turn it around. Oh yeah. He's got to be really good. For that defense. Yes, they did draft Devin White, but he's got to be really, really, really good for that. And they did draft Vita Vea a couple the year before. But he's got to be really, really good for that defense to turn it around. He's got to get back to what he was. Not even as good as he was in Detroit, but even when he was in Miami, just a really good player. So that's what he's got to get back to when he steps on the field for the Bucs this year.
Yeah, he does, and this actually popped in my head. Is he at Tampa now because he wants to actually try to show off, and because he knows really this defense is so bad that I could I can be like a huge part and be like their best guy and, you know, kind of, you know, be the guy here and everything and just be in the spotlight. So maybe, you know, that kind of just maybe came to my head. If, you know, if he wants a redemption of what happened last year. So I could maybe see that, but we'll find out. But, you know, I would hold, because he's a really good player. So he could get a big deal, I think, somewhere if he actually carries these 16 games.
Yeah, if he puts out a good season, you could probably see him getting like maybe a 2-3 year deal, so it's for some, you know, pretty good money. But I don't know. To me, with the Bucks, they have maybe a small chance to be a playoff team. I don't think it's a great chance, but if you, like you said, he was on the Rams, who were a Super Bowl contender almost from jump, and he never really cared until the playoffs. How are you going to care in Tampa? Yeah. I mean, it's not like Jameis now, Bruce Arians is a, you know, pretty good coach. He ain't turned that around in 1 year. I mean, what you really have is on that team for offense-wise, you have Mike Evans. You have their 2 tight ends, Bray and O.J. Howard. Like especially with James Winston, you're like, that team's probably not making the playoffs. Especially with how tough that division is. Panthers could potentially be pretty good. The Saints, I think, are going to be pretty good. Falcons, as long as everyone in the Mothers doesn't get hurt on defense again, is going to be pretty good. And I think like the clear difference, like all those 3 teams are like potentially up here, and Tampa's kind of down here. So, I mean, how is Sue? I mean, I don't see a great way on how Sue's going to care, but I don't know. Again, I don't understand it from any way how you try to slice this. Yeah, I don't understand it. Maybe they just want Sue's like kind of like attitude along with Vita Vea, because I mean it's maybe pretty 2 good defensive tackles, but you had that with Gerald McCoy. Yeah. Along with, you know, I'm pretty sure it was JPP still on the squad, if I'm not mistaken.
He got hurt though. He got an accident.
Oh, never mind. He gone. But I don't get it. Yeah. I don't understand it at all. I mean, do you, Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, it is a weird move. I mean, getting rid of McCoy and signing Sue.
That seems like a Gettleman move.
In a way, it might be it definitely does.
No, Gettleman would probably trade it to the Saints.
I know. Yeah.
But like, here, give me a 7th round pick.
Yeah. So it's definitely interesting. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens to the Bucks this year. I think they're probably going to finish last. I don't think their defense is going to be bad again. And Winston has maturity issues. We'll see if Bruce Arians turns that around. But I just think it's still going to be a long year for the Bucks.
The only way that's going to happen is if Dominic Sue just goes on a stomping, then just stomping out all the quarterbacks in that division. That's the only way they sniffing anything.
Exactly. So because we're towards Memorial Day, we're going to shift our attention over to baseball, and because we're close to Memorial Day, this is kind of like the check-in date for all of baseball. So instead of just going over the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Mets, we're going to kind of go around the league. But we'll start with the Yankees, and really, first place, 31-17, really been one of the surprises of the year.
I should say one real thing about the Yankees. CC Sabathia is now headed to the 10-day deal.
Another Yankee on the IL, but they're still in first place.
Insert DJ Khaled meme, another one.
Yep. So they're still in first place. I mean, Domingo Germán has had a great year for that rotation. He's really stepped up in that rotation. You know, when you have Severino, Paxton, and now CeCe on the DL, you got to have a starting pitcher step up, and then that's been Domingo Germán so far. You've had Tanaka's had a really good year. Happ has struggled. CeCe's when he's been pitching, he's been okay. Didn't have a good start last night. But I mean, but they've had other guys step up, especially in their lineup. Your shell has been really good. Gleyber Torres is really starting to get hot. Gary Sanchez is getting hot. Luke Voigt has played well. DJ LeMahieu has been good. So not having Judge or Stanton in this lineup has not hurt them as much as a lot of people thought it was going to be. The Yankees are 20-7 without Aaron Judge. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty impressive.
I didn't think that was going to be happening. No. I thought we'd be where the Red Sox are.
Not at all.
Like borderline 500.
Yeah. And then you look at the bullpen. I think the thing is they've defined roles in this bullpen. That's been the biggest thing. I think you have Ottavino being like that sixth inning guy. Then you have Canely being like the 7th inning guy. Then you got Britton the 8th inning. Chapman the 9th. Chapman has been really. I don't think Chapman's allowed an earn. I think he's allowed 1 earned run the entire month. So Chapman's been really good. Britton's starting to get really good. So is Canely. So has Ottavino.
Holder's been decent. Holder's been
decent, but Ottavino's been really good. So this bullpen's really finding its form to being one of the best bullpens in baseball.
And Patanzas, won't be back for another month. So it's like then you got him coming back.
Yeah, so this definitely by the end of the year, this bullpen is probably gonna be one of the by the end of the year will probably be the best bullpen in baseball. They've really done a really good job being in first place at 31-17. So Kyle, Justin, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's been crazy that they're 14 up. And the thing is, too, it's like, I know, like, we're still hitting the home runs. Like, even, you know, Clint with the multi-high, Glaber with, 10 home runs now against Baltimore. Gary, you know, can we just make Camden Yards our home stadium? Like, can we just switch with the Orioles? Is that possible?
I'd be fine with it.
So,
I had no problems if they keep playing like that.
It's crazy. And then with Herman, his numbers are exactly the same as Sevy's were pretty right around this time. It's, as we know, he had that great first half last year and he fell off. So the only thing I worry about with Herman is he definitely has not pitched as many. By the end of the season, he's not going to have that pitch inning limit, or he hasn't pitched that much down the. So, you know, I kind of worry me. Yeah, fatigue. Will that affect him? You know, but with, I guess when you get Severino back, you could go to a 6-man rotate. You may have to if hopefully everybody stays healthy very soon. But then with this lineup, it's like they're actually not getting runs. It's not like I guess they're still hitting the home run balls, but they're not trying to kill it every time.
It's small-ish ball.
Yeah, it's like they have those certain guys that can play small ball, but then you still got the Sanchez, Glaber. So it's been very interesting. It's working. It's a combination that's working, and you're 14 games up. You're one of the best teams in baseball, so, you know, keep doing what you're doing, and, you know.
The problem I see with the Yankees upcoming is once everyone comes back, who you putting in and who you keeping out, because let's just say strictly for the outfield, because right now it's in left field is Gardner, center field it's Hicks when he plays. Who's in right? Frazier, yeah. So when he comes back, so it's probably gonna be Frazier left, Hicks center, Judge right, Stanton DH. Who are you putting keeping at third base? Urshela probably.
You keep Urshela there, but when Didi comes back, you move LeMahieu to third, and then you could DH Urshela or maybe DH Frazier because maybe you could also move Stanton to left field. Don't forget about that.
Yeah. And then shortstop, so it's probably like, you know, Didi. Second base will be Torres. Yep. And first base, Luke Voigt. I never want to see Greg Bird ever again.
And hopefully we don't.
Because good Lord,
and we got to back up with Kendrys Morales now.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd rather see Kendrys Morales. Yeah. And I never thought I'd say that over Greg Bird, but good Lord. Sorry, Greg Bird. You seem like a cool dude. It ain't working out, bro. Let's cut it where it is. But yeah, it's surprising when you think like the Yankees at the beginning. It was, you know, he had, you know, Hicks, who had a pretty good year in terms of power numbers last year. Then obviously Stanton, Judge, Sanchez. You could potentially, that would just knock home runs, maybe break the record. And now it's like you're kind of saying, it's not Yankees from last year, but it's not like the Royals when they won a World Series. It's kind of in the middle. It's small-ish. Well, they're still knocking out home runs, but yet they're getting the base hits. They're advancing runners from, like, you know, there's a runner on second with no outs. They're advancing them to third and then, you know, knocking them in.
It's small ball.
It's good fundamental baseball. I just completely destroyed that word. But now when it comes back, it's just the only thing that's going to potentially be an issue is that when all these people do come back, because it's such an abundance of players, is the rust factor when it comes back. Like, are you going to potentially like wait for them to come back after the All-Star break? And how long is it going to take like Judge to come back, Stanton, Severino, Betances, you know, all these people? That's only a potential issue. And then how much, if they do have to knock off a lot of rust, how much are you going to fall back if at all? So, but right now, like you were saying, I was kind of thinking us to be like roughly about 500, maybe a couple games over. But right now, for what, we're 31, 17. Sorry, I'll take it. I ain't complaining right now because it could be a lot worse. It could be Baltimore. Yeah. Or it could be Miami.
Oh, it'd probably just be in third place.
Or it could be the Red Sox.
Even with injuries, are clearly better than the Blue Jays and the Orioles. Yeah. And we'll talk about the Red Sox now. I mean, right now, the defending champs, 26-23, not gotten off to the start they've hoped for. They've gotten better lately. Haven't hit home runs the way they've hit, but they haven't hit for power the way they did last year because JD Martinez is home. He's been out, and Martinez's home run numbers aren't up there this year. Starting pitching, Chris Sale got off to a terrible start, gotten better of late. They've gotten David Price back off the IL. He's been pitching okay for them. The issue, I think the biggest issue for the Red Sox is the closer, and they had a lead in the ninth inning last night. They blew it. They had a lead in the 12th inning last night. They blew it. Thank God they were playing the Blue Jays for their sake because they ended up winning the game 6-5. But I think they probably need to re-sign Craig Kimbrell, or they're not repeating. That's plain and simple. They don't re-sign Craig Kimbrell, they're not repeating.
No, they're not. And I haven't heard criminal news or Craig Kimbrell news in a while, but last I heard with him in Boston, that they weren't really talking about, any contract situation. So it doesn't seem like he's going back to Boston. But for them, Michael Chavis has really stepped up for them. He's got 8 or 9 home runs. He's got like their 4th farthest home run. He's really stepped up for him. And it seems like since he got called up was like when they kind of they started to play better than what they started with. The other thing was too is they had the Yankees problem of last year. They ground into a lot of double play balls. They struggled to get guys out. They struggled to knock in runs, driving in guys. Instead, I think they grounded in 3 or 4 double play balls on Tuesday night, which can't. I know Stroman is a ground ball pitcher, and he's known for doing that, but you still can't. I think they basically twice, and they may have got 1 runner in. So that's been their problem. The bullpen. Eduardo Rodriguez got rocked the other night. He left Rowdy Tellez just 2 sinkers. He hit back-to-back home runs against them. That's been the Red Sox problem. It's just inconsistency. One night they look great, the other night they just don't really show up, and it seems like I don't know how long this is going to continue.
Our Red Sox reporter, Justin D'Onofrio, yes. He works the game, so that's probably why he has all the information.
He's got the knowledge.
Yeah.
But I think, like right now, the problem, I think, is the closer, because obviously, like, when it comes to postseason time, you need a good closer. You need that solid bullpen to, shut it down, when you need them. They ain't having that, and they ain't having that anytime soon unless they start going out trading for someone or signing someone like Kimbrel. But the problem is this team, hitting wise, I felt like last year everything went perfect for them. Mookie Betts was insane and won the MVP. JD Martinez played insane and I think should have been the MVP, but he had an insane season. Now their seasons aren't terrible, but they ain't last year. Now I think it's just one of those things where I think the problem is they're focusing too much on trying to put up a ton of runs because they know their bullpen ain't great. So they know, hey, we might have a 3 run lead. We need more because there's a big good potential our bullpen and closer could blow this lead. And I think that's why they're just kind of pushing too much. And when they got behind the 8 ball from the get-go, they don't want to fall behind too much to the Red Sox and Rays. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty hard, especially like with the Yankees getting their players back potentially later on in the season. If you fall too far back of them and they get their players back and the Yankees just become better, now you're fighting for a wild card. Now 1 game wild card, anything can happen. 1 bad pitch, you're gone. So right now the Red Sox could be a lot worse, but for sure it could be a hell of a lot better.
Yes. Well, yes, that's going to be interesting what happens with them. So now we're going to go quickly around the majors. We're going really quick, like 30 seconds on each team. We'll start with the Tampa Bay Rays. Glasnow, Snell, and Morton have been really good. Meadows has been a good pickup when they traded for Chris Archer, but they need more bats. But second place right now, they're a potential playoff team. Justin.
Yeah, their pitching keeps them into it. Keeps them in. They need a couple more bats in trade deadline.
Yeah, if I'm them right now, I'm liking where I am. But yeah, like you said, you need more bats and I think also many teams are like maybe another certain pitcher because I'm not a big fan at opener. I don't see that lasting.
We know Joe Aguirre isn't either. He ripped it last Saturday.
And real quick, and I hated when the Yankees did it when they got that big win.
But at least they won the game.
Sure.
So Toronto Blue Jays, good to see Vladimir Guerrero getting some time. He's starting to get a little hot. Stroman and Sanchez are having a good year, but the offense is just terrible outside of Vlad Guerrero Jr., and they will be a 4th place team.
Yeah, a couple more years. I don't know if you guys heard what they did Monday about Victoria Day. Not happy in Toronto, but disappointing. Yeah, they need some guys there. They need a couple more years.
Yeah, I mean, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. looks like he's going to be a great player, but yeah, it's going to be struggle as well. And if I'm not, don't trade Stroman. He's going to be a cornerstone of your team. Do not do that.
Absolutely not. We got the Orioles. One word to describe them: rebuilding.
Yeah, it's a joke right now. Baltimore.
Terrible, awful, god awful, sore to the eyes.
Minnesota Twins being in first place right now, 7 games up on the Indians, being carried by Jose Barrios and Eddie Rosario. Good offensive team. Well, they've scored more runs than any team in baseball. Bullpen's a little shaky, but still, very good chance to win the AL Central.
Yeah, they're playing very well. And Nelson Cruz just won a deal a couple days ago. So or IL. So even without him, Twins I think are win the Central.
Yeah, I think the Twins. You got to keep building up this lead on the Indians because potentially the Indians couldn't be making a potential late push. So on Twins keep pushing up that lead.
Cleveland Indians, disappointing start, 25-23. Corey Kluber's hurt. Jose Ramirez has been absolutely terrible, and that's a big reason why they are in second place right now and have a very good chance to miss the playoffs this year.
Yeah, it's been a rough start. Kluber going down. Ramirez batting like 180, something like that, 170. He's had a rough year. Bullpen's been okay, but if they want a shot, they gotta get going.
I'll say right now, you have a +4 run differential. You ain't making the playoffs with that. Get that up ASAP.
Not at all. Thank God they signed Brad Hand last year. They would not have a closer either.
That's true.
So, Chicago White Sox, 22-26. Got some good young bats. Yohan Moncada, Eloy Jimenez got some potential. Jose Abreu's having a really good year. Tim Anderson's hitting for a high average. Problem is, no pitching. That's why this is a 75-win team at best. Go.
Yeah, next year, White Sox. Next year can be your year to get back to the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, you need to just develop those young bats. But next year I should focus strictly on pitching and free agency.
Detroit Tigers, a pathetic offensive team. The only reason they even have 8, they're not even worse, is because their top end starting pitching has been decent. But this is a team that has no direction. They signed Miguel Cabrera to that big deal. He's a shell of what he once was. Yes, he can still hit for average, but he can't hit for power. And they have no good young talent on that team.
Yeah, they don't have much at all. Fulmer is done for the year with Tommy John. They're a couple years away from being anything.
Do you know what their run differential is real quick? It is -93.
That's pathetic.
That is god awful.
You know it's a rebuilding team.
That is terrible. Yeah, Detroit. It's going to be struggles though for at least 5 years. Get used to it.
Kansas City Royals, 17-32. No pitching at all, but Mondesi, Gordon. And Mondesi, Gordon's had a pretty good year, and Dozier pretty good. With Dozier and Mondesi, they do have a future, 2 future position players, but they need some pitching, or they won't be in playoff contention for a while. Yeah,
you also got Homer Bailey. That's actually been pretty decent this year. Whit Merrifield as well has been good, but yeah, KC. They have Ned Yost there. They'll get better. He'll develop that talent.
Yeah, I mean, didn't Salvador Perez get hurt before the year even started? Yeah. So I mean, at that point, whatever hope you had potential playoffs, bye.
Yes. In my opinion, the best team in baseball, the Houston Astros at 33-17. You look at they got Verlander and Garrett Cole at the top of the rotation. That offense is ridiculous. When you have, Altuve's not even having that good of a year, but Springer is right now the leader to be the AL MVP. You got Carlos Correa, you got Michael Brantley, you got Alex Bregman. That's the best lineup in baseball. Their bullpen, Ozuna, has pitched well too. They're solid everywhere. Maybe depth of rotation because they did lose Charlie Morton and they didn't re-sign Dallas Keuchel, but this team right now is the best team in baseball at 33-17.
I'm with you there, Steve. According to the Boston Red Sox announcers, they are the best bullpen in baseball, not the Yankees.
That's because they're going off bullpen ERA. That's why. And try to explain that to Joe Aguirre. The Astros have a better bullpen than the Yankees, and he will give you a 30-minute lecture on why the Yankees bullpen is better.
Yeah, next time I see him, I got to bring that up. But the Astros will win this game by they'll win this event by about 30 games.
Yeah, I'm again right there with you guys right now. Houston right now is the best team. There's not a glaring hole on that team. And imagine if Altuve comes back to his normal self. Yeah. That's even scarier. That seems to make this team miles better. So good luck, West. Good luck with that.
Yes. And really, the Rangers are in second place. Does it really matter? Yeah, they're 24-23. I like Joey Gallo a lot. I think he could hit. I think they've been doing well offensively. They're in the top 10 in run score, but I don't think their pitching is going to hold up. This is still this team still won't win more than 75 games.
No, pitching, it's very veteran. And Mike Minor, I think, is 9-3 or something like that. But they got some power. They need that pitching staff to get any better.
And right now, you're only one game above 500, and your run differential is only plus 14. You need to get that better because you're gonna have to play in a wild card game. And if you're pitching's gonna struggle in a 1-game wild card, good luck.
We got the A's 25-25. Chris Davis, good power hitter in the lineup, but I don't think their lineup is as good as last year. Their bullpen's not as good as last year, and their starting pitching is not good at all. That's why this is probably not going to be a playoff team.
Yeah, I think I picked them to go the wild card. I know Davis just went back in the IL with a hip injury, so that's going to hurt them. But yeah, I don't think they're going playoffs.
Yeah, they're not going to playoffs. I think Chris Davis, if I'm him, try to find a way onto a contender.
If
somehow, which is going to be terrible because you just kind of did yourself in. But
good pickup for the Rays if they get him.
Yeah, you need. If I'm trying to get work to like team like the Rays, anyone other than Oakland, because I'm sorry, Oakland, it's not happening.
Angels, Mike Trout's been doing well, obviously. Ohtani coming back and doing decent. Estella's had a good year, but this team has absolutely no pitching, and that's why Mike Trout will miss the playoffs again this year at 22-26. This team looks like it's going to be another losing season for the Angels.
Poor Trout. The Angels always seem like they have a chance to make the playoffs, and they just underperform every year besides Trout.
Maybe put Mike Trout a pitcher. I mean, he can do everything. Maybe he can pitch. But yeah, you're wasting another season. Mike Trout's, amazing, great talent. But, I mean, hey, Trout's on the big contract. He agreed to it.
Absolutely. So we look at the Mariners, who were in first place. People were buying them at the start of the year. Now they're falling apart. And I remember talking about them before the season. They really had no direction. They get rid of Gene Segura. They get rid of Edwin Diaz. They get rid of James Paxton. But they sign Edwin Encarnacion. And Domingo Santana too. And he's having a good year. Yeah. But they're starting to come down to earth. They don't have a lot of pitching. They were carried by their offense at the beginning of the year, but their offense isn't even that great either. And they're looking like they're on their way to a 70-win season. And they're in last place in the West, and they won't be making the playoffs either.
Oh, no. What did they start out? 14-2, something like that?
I think so, yeah.
23 and 29.
Yeah.
So that just tells you something. Get some pitch.
Getting rid of Edwin Diaz might be the dumbest move I've seen.
Yes, because you remember that game against the Yankees where they had the 4-2 lead and they gave it up. Yep.
I do not understand. But yeah, again, you have a -38 run differential. You're 3-7 in your last 10. Maybe you bought him for maybe Seattle fans were excited for half a second, and then nope, bye bye. You're gonna be Strugglesville.
We'll talk about the Mets now. We'll go to the National League. We'll start with the Mets. The only reason Mickey Callaway still has a job is because of Edwin Diaz and Peter Alonso. If it wasn't for those two players, the Mets would probably have the same record as the Marlins right now in the NL East because Cano hasn't hit. McNeil's been decent, but Cano, Ramos have not hit at all. Conforto's not been that good either. Syndergaard's had a terrible year. DeGrom's not been what he was last year. Yes, Joe Aguirre, you were right about Jacob DeGrom. I will give you that. He's not the best pitcher in baseball. I will give you that, Joe Aguirre. Yeah. But yes, the Mets, if without Alonso and Diaz, Mickey Callaway would be fired.
Yeah, but he is still under a lot of hot water right now. How do you have 3 total hits on Saturday and Sunday against the Miami Marlins? That just, I would have fired him then. Pablo Lopez had a 5 ERA. Get shut down. Pete Alonso, thank God for him too. He's been their only offense.
Real quick, have you guys heard what happened to Cespedes, right?
Yeah.
I think he broke his ankle at his ranch. You got to figure out something with that guy because he's so injured. Yes, the dude's uber talented, but he keeps getting injured if you breathe on him. It's and you're breaking your ankle at home, dude, after recovering from, I believe it was a heel surgery, if I'm not mistaken. You got to figure it out. But right now, again, Strugglesville.
Washington, we'll go to the Atlanta Braves. We'll go to the Phillies first. Phillies, Bryce Harper hasn't been doing great, but still, with Rhys Hoskins and Gene Segura, the offense has been good. I mean, the pitching has been okay, but the bullpen's been improved this year. That's why the Phillies are in first place. Yeah,
if Bryce Harper can get it going, this team could be really, really good. It's been decent. Bullpen's been good. This team's in it for the long run.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for them. You got to, keep extending that lead over the Braves. But I think real quick, the reason why Bryce Harper's striking out so much is because he got that enormous contract, and he's been labeled as a power hitter. So he thinks he needs to hit so many home runs. So he's swinging as hard as he can, more strikeouts, and now his it's on the ERA. His batting average isn't great. So you got to start focusing back on fundamentals if you're Harper.
Yes, we look at the Braves. We'll talk about the Braves now. Second place, 27-23. I like Acunta. I like Freeman. I like Markakis. But does this team have enough pitching to win the division? That'll be the question. Yeah. The young, talented offense they have. Rotation. I know they brought Newcomb struggled. He was in the bullpen now. He's pitching well for him. Adding another arm or two. To trade deadline, this team could definitely win the East.
Yeah, you need to keep it. I'm right there with you about keeping it with the trade deadline because you need to keep it in range of the Phillies. Hopefully, you can get an arm, whoever it may be. Because right now you're only a game and a half back. So right now it's close. You got to keep it that way.
Yes, Washington Nationals their bullpen is absolutely terrible. They definitely miss Bryce Harper. You're seeing that You're seeing that from the numbers of Juan Soto, and the Scherzer hasn't been as good this year. This team is not going to the playoffs.
Oh no, yeah, but rotation. One of the best baseball offensively. They're not very good. Dozier's having a rough year who they signed, and the They may finish in third.
Thank God the Marlins are in their division. Otherwise, they'd be last.
Yes. And for the Marlins, one word, terrible.
Yeah, this is poor Jeter. Jeter doesn't work.
I don't comment on trash.
Yes. We'll go over to the NL Central. The Cubs, 29-18, getting good pitching, getting really good hitting from Rizzo, Bryan, and Baez. And their bullpen's a little bit of a struggle, but still one of the top teams in the NL.
Yeah, they had a slow start early, but they've really picked it up lately, and they look good.
With the Cubs, I like they have Bryant, Rizzo, and Baez. I mean, that's insanely good. So right now, Cubs, you got talent. Keep extending that lead over the Brewers.
Brewers, one word. A couple words. Christian Yelich is nasty, and he could win the NL MVP. If it's not for Cody Bellinger, he could repeat as the NL MVP.
Oh yeah, he's got a huge shot at that. Brewers need some pitching if they want to get back to the NLCS again. They need pitching.
The longer and better Christian Yelich keeps getting, the worse and worse Jeter looks.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Pittsburgh Pirates 24-22. Josh Bell's off to a really good start. Good front end pitching, but I don't think that's going to be enough for them to get to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think Josh Bell's been unbelievable so far. Don't know if they keep this pace up for 162 games. Probably not. I think St. Louis will catch them eventually.
Pittsburgh Pirates having a pretty impressive season. The fact that you're 24-22 and have a negative 50 run differential. Somehow you're managing that.
Yeah, that is weird. St. Louis Cardinals 25-24. I mean, yes, Ozuna's had a really good year hitting for power. Goldschmidt has been not good, not great. But does this team have enough pitching? I don't think they have enough depth in the rotation. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised they sneak in. Maybe, if they can get a pitcher or two at the trade deadline. But, this lineup's they have potential. They definitely do. So,
yeah. I don't think it's happening this year, but potentially, maybe the next year or two, you could be something that's going to be a pretty good squad.
Gotcha. Reds 22-27. Better pitching this year, but their offense is not good at all, and that's why they're not making the playoffs.
Yeah, and Sonny Gray shut down the Milwaukee Brewers the other night. First time the Brewers were shut out by Sonny. 9 Ks in 6 innings.
I hate Sonny Gray. Sorry. The Reds, again, you're 5 games under 500, but you have a plus 25 run differential. Again, I don't know how you're managing that, but more power to you.
Gotcha. Dodgers right now 32-18. I think the best team in the NL. Really good pitching. Jansen hasn't been great so far, but Cody Bellinger right now NL MVP. That's why I think the Dodgers are the best team in the NL, second best team in baseball.
Yeah, Dodgers best team in the West, and they're gonna run away with this thing. They'll win this game by 15-20 games. I don't think they need much of the trade deadline. They're pretty much put together.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah, they're gonna close it up. Relatively easy with no problems. And Cody Bellinger, I just want to see if that guy can hit 400 in the season. So right now, that is just insane. Clearly, NL MVP right now.
Yeah.
The Padres, 26-24. Even though Machado's not having a great year, and Tatis has been out. I think their front end starting pitching's been good. Their bullpen's been pretty good, and this team's looking like they're gonna compete, be around a 500 team. Yeah,
Chris Paddock, he's second best ERA right now in the National League, and right now hitting Pete Alonso, running away with the NL Rookie of the Year award. Probably a year or two away, I think, from contending.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. About a year or two away, they can definitely be a pretty good squad with this young talent, which is just insane. But yeah, I mean, they need to pick it up if you're going to even make a potential chance, because clearly you're not going to make the run at Dodgers unless they fall or you make some insane run. So you're going to have to focus on a wild card.
Diamondbacks are getting some contributions to the top of the lineup. Surprisingly pretty good offensively. Pitching with Greinke and Ray are pretty good, but still a 500 team and a team that could compete for the playoffs. Good manager. I like Torey Lovullo, but they probably won't make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're on a 5-game skidder right now. They were right there. They're starting to struggle with that Greinke after that first start in LA. Looked like he was pretty much done, but he's rebounded and he's 6-1 now. So.
Yeah, right now you need to fix your record at home, because right now on the road games you're 14-12, but on the home you're 11-13. That's not good. You need to fix that. If anything, that should be flip flopped.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. Colorado Rockies. I like the offense. I like the offense. Nolan Arenado obviously having another great year. Trevor Story's having a good year. They did bring up former Yard Goat Brandon Rogers. Yes, he struggled this weekend against the Phillies, but he's up with the big club. The problem has been the pitching. Kyle Freeland has been terrible so far, and if this team's pitching doesn't get better, they will miss the playoffs.
Yeah, Dreamer Marquis has been 6-1, 7-1, something like that right now. He's looking really good. Taking Freeland's taking off for what everyone thought Freeland was gonna be the guy again. Offense is good. They need pitching, but I know that's tough out in Miles City. Yeah, with the Rockies, again, you need to get better this year and previous years, because again, you don't want to fall into the same thing with the Angels of wasting. Now, Arenado's not on the level of Trout, but you don't want to waste a guy that's that level
of Arenado. You need to get better ASAP.
Absolutely. We'll conclude our baseball coverage with the Giants, 21 and 27. The big question is, will Madison Bumgarner be here after July 1st? And he probably won't be.
No, I think he'll be traded. I think Brandon Belt will be too. But 182 runs. They struggled. I think they only had scored 2 or 3 runs in the first inning this year. They're like worse in baseball. Long rebuild process. Get ready, San Fran.
Yeah, you need to start getting a lot better in ASAP. But again, the only way I could see you doing that, even the potential, is you got to trade Madison Bumgarner. You got to at this point.
Alrighty, so that'll wrap up our baseball coverage. We'll check back in we'll talk Yankees, Reds, and Red Sox throughout the All-Star break. But at the All-Star break, we'll do this again. We'll check in with all baseball. So the last segment of the show, I'll hand over to Justin and Kyle with the Stanley Cup Final. And we got the Blues. We got Kyle's Boston Bruins back in the finals for the 3rd time in 9 years. I mean, I really haven't watched much of the Blues this year, but from the way the Bruins are playing, I think there's a very good chance there could be another parade in Boston in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, this should be a really fun series, and sorry, Kyle, but I'm cheering for St. Louis. This team January 3rd had 34 points, and they called up this rookie goaltender and Jordan Bennington, and this kid is just he changed the game. He just changed his team. They ended with 99 points.
Yeah, he's 24-5.
Yeah, that's impressive. That is,
not even giving up 2 goals in game.
He's what, 21, 22? Like he just seems so unfazed out there.
He's getting almost a half a goal less than Tuca.
This kid's been very, very impressive.
That is impressive. I'll give him that.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Marty Brodeur is actually with the front office, so he could have something to do with it.
Hey, I mean, I can't learn from probably one of the best goaltenders ever.
Yeah.
They ain't bad to have. Like, Brodeur, you got tips for me?
Yeah. But this would be, I'm interested to see what the Bruins, because it's going to be what? They played last Thursday. They're off to Monday.
Yeah, about 2 weeks off. How's that rest going to be?
Yeah. Now, I know it probably helps with, being banged up and all that. That's great, but, you have that rest. But the last 6 times, the team that had the most rest going into the Stanley Cup has actually lost the series. So,
we're breaking that.
They could, swing this year, but I'm really excited for the series. I think Boston did sweep St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken. So
no, they did lose 1 game in Boston.
Okay, they did. All right, so I was wrong then, but
because I was almost going to that game, but then work was like, nope. Sad days.
Yeah. But I just hope Stanley Cup Finals, they would go. I hope it gets to game 6, 7. I hope it does, but I gotta take the Blues and us. I'll take the Blues in 6. I don't know if they would be able to go to Boston game 7 to win.
I think that it's going to be... I think Boston's going to win in 6. I don't think it's going to be like the Hurricanes. I don't think they're going to sweep because I think the Blues are just too good right now. I mean, Tarasenko, who's one of the better players in the league right now. The only problem with Bennington, I mean, obviously a 24-5 as a rookie with 1.89 goals against is insane, especially for anyone, but especially for a rookie. The only problem with him is you're going to be able to stand up to that, guard and pressure. Is the pressure going to get there? Maybe if, from the game, if he lets up maybe 1 soft goal or 1 or 2 like quick goals, how is that going to phase him? Is he all going to think, oh Lord, like what's going on? And then is it going to become ugly quick? So that's one thing you got to worry about. If it doesn't, more power to him. But I think right now, when you have, especially with their when the Bruins get on a power play, you have Marchand on the power play. You have Pastrnak over there in Ovechkin's spot, for the one-timers. You have Bergeron on there. You have potentially maybe Chara, Krug. You kind of like mix and match with that. The talent level that they have just scoring is just insane because Marchand this year had 36 goals and he had 64 assists. So that guy can score, he can dish it. He will just be an absolute nuisance to everyone. You will probably want to smack him with your stick by the end of the series because he's just that annoying. Pastrnak, he needs to start getting smart in terms of like just dumping the puck in, making better passes. I mean, Duke can score with the best of them in the league. He needs to be better overall of a player, not just become just off like as an offensive player as he is now. But right now, Tuukka's been playing insane. Marchand's good. Pasternak's good. Bergeron is just solid, one of the most important players in the league. He's been that rock of that team. Chara now, hopefully, he's been recovering from his injury because I think he just started recently becoming back, like maybe about 2 days ago from that injury. I kept him out in game 4, but Right now, I mean, I don't think in either way this is going to be it's going to be no more than 6 games. I think it's going to be a good series, and hopefully Boston can win because I don't want to. Especially after with the last time when they lost to the Blackhawks, 2013, in that just disgusting way, it was just painful to watch. But I mean, this is going to be a good series now. Yeah, and it's going to be battle of goaltenders. The goaltender's been hot, so I think it's going to come down to that.
Yeah, and last time the Blues were in the Stanley Cup, 1970. So it's been
good old Bobby Orr's goal.
Yeah, so
famous goal.
Yeah, I know those plays are on now, but St. Louis wants some redemption, but yeah, it should be, but they played. I know San Jose lost Erik Karlsson, Thomas Hertl, and Pavelski didn't play in Game 6. But they still last 2 games they outscored San Jose's 10-1. Yeah, so they've been playing very. I know those top 3 guys, but they've been playing very, very well. So I don't know. I think with the couple, let's stay all maybe Boston.
I think they have to win in 6 because if it goes 7, I'm sorry, you ain't winning in Game 7 in Boston.
Yeah.
Like it's not happening. Especially because if it goes Game 7 in Boston, they're having Bobby Orr wave that flag, and now that crowd is going to be going bananas crazy. Yeah. So good luck with that. But it's going to be a very, very good series. I'm going to be actually very excited to watch it. Yeah, having to wait 2 weeks for them to play again.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with RKJ. We'll be back next week talking NBA Finals, previewing that. Yankees, Red Sox. They have a big 4-game series coming up, and we'll be talking about the Stanley Cup Finals too. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, everybody.